All countries in the world are in debt. The United States has surpassed $38 trillion in debt. The European Union stands at 14 trillion, and Japan is close to 9 trillion. Even Germany and China, seen as the world's export giants, and even the oil-rich Saudi Arabia are known to have massive debts. In short, everyone is in debt. So who owes whom? This is where things get interesting, because essentially everyone owes themselves. Of course, this doesn't mean everyone is affected by debt in the same way. To understand how today's massive mountain of debt emerged, we need to go back, especially to a time before credit cards and online banking. In 1694, during England's war with France, the country began running out of money. The crown asked merchants for help. It promised future tax revenues as collateral to take on this debt. And to manage this borrowing, the Bank of England was founded. This moment marked the beginning of governments using money they didn't yet own. And with the founding of the Bank of England, the first modern government bond in history emerged. Over time, many countries adopted this system. Debt stopped being a weakness and became a display of power. With this acceptance, instead of conquering land, countries began raising power by selling bonds. The battlefield shifted from land to ledgers and balance sheets. Fast forward to today, and the picture is unbelievable. Global debt exceeds $315 trillion. Yes, over $315 trillion. This amount is nearly 3 times the size of the world economy. Every country has debt, every bank has receivables, and all of us are both paying debts and, through our savings, acting as creditors. So who holds all this debt today? Simply put, more than half of America's debt is held within the country. U.S. banks, funds, pension systems. Only about a third is held by foreign nations. Japan holds around $1 trillion, China around $800 billion. So the statement, the U.S. owes China, is technically true, but massively exaggerated. And this isn't just the case for the U.S. Every country holds each other's debts. Japan buys U.S. bonds. The U.S. lends to Europe. Europe supports developing nations. They then invest their money back into the bonds of developed countries. In a way, everyone is saying, let me borrow from you, you borrow from them, and they'll borrow from me. A giant circle. At the center of this circle are huge financial institutions, pension funds, central banks. If they trust a country, that country borrows easily. If they don't, interest rates skyrocket and the economy crashes. A nation's fate depends far more on market sentiment than we like to believe. Here's the interesting part. No government actually borrows money to repay debt. No administration has a plan that says, okay, we paid it off. Instead, they keep rolling debt over, paying old debt with new debt. This is called refinancing. This system survives only by constant movement, like a breathing organism. Because government debt itself has become the most trusted investment tool in the world, banks, funds, and central banks use these debts almost like money. Imagine the U.S. suddenly paying off all its debt. It would be pure chaos because the global financial system would collapse. Markets would lose their safe haven. So the real goal has never been to eliminate debt, but to make it more sustainable. Of course, the system has a price. Debt interest doesn't flow from the top down, but from the bottom up, from workers and taxpayers toward massive financial institutions. This is one of the reasons the gap between social classes grows. So the issue isn't just about countries owing each other. At the end of the day, this giant circle is built on one thing: trust. If trust breaks, the system breaks. Because debt is really just a promise. And like any promise, it can't be carried forever.